If someone keeps looking at you, this is what it means. Old Stoic Wisdom. Love is not something you look for. Love is something you become. Alfred Tennyson. Have you ever caught someone staring at you and wondered, is this just a friendly glance, or is there something deeper at play in human interactions? Attraction is often veiled in subtle cues. It's not always verbal. Sometimes, the eyes speak volumes more than words ever could. Psychology teaches us that attraction doesn't announce itself with grand gestures, but instead through tiny, almost imperceptible signs, lingering gazes, body language, and the unspoken pauses between conversations. Even if someone doesn't openly express their feelings, their actions often tell a story. In today's post, we're diving into these unspoken signs that reveal when someone may secretly be drawn to you, backed by solid psychological insights. Stay with me till the end, because the last sign, though often overlooked, holds the most telling truth. 1. Micro-expressions reveal the truth. If someone keeps looking at you, it's not just a casual glance, it's a window into their emotions, and you'd better pay attention. You see, there's something you must understand about human behavior. Micro-expressions never lie. These tiny, almost imperceptible movements on a person's face reveal their true feelings before their rational mind even has a chance to intervene. We're talking about those fleeting, split-second expressions that show up when someone thinks no one is watching. It's not something you can fake. The truth is, when you spot these micro-expressions, you're seeing a raw, unfiltered glimpse of what's going on inside their mind. And once you know what to look for, you'll realize that these expressions are more reliable than anything anyone says. Imagine you're deep in conversation, and suddenly they flash a smile. But it's not just a smile. It's a smile that starts in their eyes. You'll notice the subtle crinkle at the corners, maybe even a blush, followed by a quick glance away. That's no polite gesture, my friend. That's instinct. It's a sign that something about you, something about your presence, is making an impact. Don't ignore that. Now, pay attention when they seem surprised, especially when you drop something vulnerable into the conversation. It's brief, almost imperceptible, but it's there. It's not just a surface reaction. It's a sign that you've triggered something deep in their emotional core. They recover quickly, but that initial flicker of surprise tells you everything you need to know. It's not the words they say that matter. It's how their face reacts when they don't know you're looking. I've seen this play out over and over in my years of studying human interaction. And let me tell you, the most telling signs of attraction don't come from rehearsed compliments or rehearsed laughter. No, they come from the micro-expressions, the involuntary, barely noticeable movements that slip through when someone's trying to control what they reveal. And the truth is, you can fake your words. You can fake your laughter, but you can never fake the nervous system's response when you're drawn to someone on a deeper, unspoken level. These micro-expressions reveal the truth every single time. And when someone can't stop looking at you, that's what they're revealing. So, the next time you catch someone staring at you, don't just brush it off. You must be aware of these subtle signals and recognize that the truth of their feelings is in their face, not in their words. Remember, pay attention to the eyes, the small movements, the tiny shifts. These are the real clues that someone's heart is telling them what they can't say out loud. 2. They mirror your movements without knowing it. Don't mistake this for a mere coincidence or something insignificant. When someone keeps looking at you, especially if they are subconsciously mirroring your every move, that is a clear sign that something deeper is going on. It's not just a quirky behavior or chance. It's a profound connection being made. This is known as mirroring, and it's one of the most subtle yet powerful indicators of hidden attraction. What's happening here is more than just an involuntary mimicry. It's a psychological phenomenon deeply rooted in our biology, specifically in a system called mirror neurons. These are special neurons in our brain that activate when we observe someone, especially someone we're emotionally or physically drawn to. They are the body's way of saying, "I'm with you. I understand you." This mirroring isn't a conscious effort. It happens naturally, without thought. and it's an instinctive form of connection. So picture this: you cross your legs. A few moments later, they do the same. You lean forward slightly, and they follow your movement. Maybe you touch your face, and suddenly they reach for their own cheek. What you're seeing isn't mimicry, it's bonding. This is your body's silent way of saying, I am in sync with you. You are so emotionally aligned that even your physical gestures become intertwined. Now, think about the settings where this happens. I've witnessed it countless times in therapy sessions, romantic encounters, and even in those early moments of meeting someone new. It's subtle, but powerful. The most fascinating part is that this mirroring can happen without anyone consciously realizing it. This is the brain's way of forming a deeper emotional connection, of signaling that they are emotionally attuned to you. The body doesn't lie. It reflects what the mind and heart are feeling, even when they haven't been vocalized. You must understand this mirroring isn't just a cute trick or unconscious imitation. It's a biological, emotional bond being formed, often without either party recognizing it. So the next time you're with someone, take a moment to observe how the interaction unfolds. Step back and see if they're echoing your movements. Are they leaning in when you do? Are they adopting your body language, your posture? That's not chance. It's nature's way of showing that your presence has an effect on them that goes far beyond what words could express. That is the magic of connection. Silent, subtle, but undeniably powerful. When someone mirrors your movements, their subconscious is telling you, I am in tune with you. I am emotionally engaged. You are leaving a mark on them, and they are leaving a mark on you. So the next time this happens, take notice. It's not just flattery or coincidence. It's nature's hidden language of attraction. 3. They find reasons to be near you even without talking. When someone is constantly near you, yet avoids direct conversation, it's not by chance. It's a subtle sign of secret attraction. This isn't about words, it's about presence. The ancient Stoics knew this well. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality, said Seneca. A person who's emotionally drawn to you may not speak up or confront their feelings, but they'll still position themselves in your orbit. They'll appear where you least expect them, at work, at events you mentioned casually, in places you frequent. They might not initiate any conversation, but they'll strategically choose seats next to you or stay in the vicinity, finding every excuse to be close without drawing attention. This isn't stalking, it's subtle orbiting, a strategy to be near without saying a word. The greatest wealth is to live content with little, said Plato, which hints that even small moments in your proximity provide satisfaction and emotional stimulation to those around you. In modern life, we may think we're too busy for such things, but we still seek out those we desire, often without fully realizing it. You must understand that this is a powerful, silent signal, one of the clearest signs of hidden attraction. These subtle actions, unnoticed even by the one performing them, are key to understanding human connection. They reveal something deeper about emotional attachment. Don't ignore the signs. Pay attention. People may not speak their feelings, but their actions will always reveal their desires. You must recognize these signs, trust your intuition, and learn from the wisdom of the Stoics. Those who understand human behavior will navigate relationships with power, confidence, and control. In the game of life, mastery comes not from brute force, but from keen observation. Understand the subtle signals of attraction, recognize the silent orbiting, and use that knowledge to move forward with confidence. If someone is constantly near you but avoids direct conversation, it's not just coincidence, it's a subtle sign of attraction. Now, if you recognize these hidden signals, drop a comment right now. I am aware of the silent signals of attraction. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, true mastery comes not from speaking, but from observing. 4. Nervous energy and fidgeting. When someone is constantly looking at you, don't just assume it's a passing glance or a casual observation. It could be something much deeper, something ancient, rooted in human behavior, attraction. For instance, doesn't always make itself known through bold, confident gestures. Often, it's revealed in something far subtler nervous energy. Yes, when someone is secretly drawn to you. Their body speaks before their mind does. That fluttery, restless feeling you might see as a physiological response, a simple way of saying their emotions are firing off faster than their thoughts can catch up. The nervous system goes into overdrive, pulling the body into a dance of restless energy. Suddenly, they're tapping their fingers, fidgeting with their hands, or adjusting their clothes as if they could somehow control their heartbeat with a slight shift in posture. Maybe they fix their hair one too many times, or their gaze darts around the room, unwilling to settle on anything for too long. Their heart is pounding, their skin is warm. This isn't discomfort, it's attraction. It's the body's fight or flirt mode, trying to release that emotional tension in the only way it knows how. The body, after all, doesn't lie. And so, these subtle, nervous behaviours start to spill out. You'll notice it in therapy rooms, during job interviews, and especially among couples who haven't quite confessed their feelings to one another. It's that awkward, undeniable tension. It's not discomfort, it's emotional electricity at work. And here's the kicker: if they're relaxed and composed around everyone else, but around you they start fidgeting or becoming flustered, that's not by accident. That's attraction trying to hide, but not doing a very good job of it. You must pay attention. This nervous energy is like a secret in plain sight, quietly whispering the truth that attraction can't be hidden for long. So next time someone can't stop fidgeting around you, don't dismiss it. Recognize it for what it really is: a subtle but undeniable sign that something more is at play. 5. Subtle jealousy even when they hide it. When someone keeps looking at you, it can be a little unnerving. The intense, lingering gaze, the quiet observation, it's easy to think it means something obvious. Maybe they like you, maybe they're judging you, but here's the thing. Sometimes, that gaze speaks volumes about something else entirely. Often, it's not about admiration or disdain at all. It's about something deeper, something hidden in the folds of old Stoic wisdom. Now, let's talk about subtle jealousy. It's not the dramatic, over-the-top jealousy you see in movies. You know the type: loud arguments, possessive behaviour, or even controlling actions. No, this is the sneaky kind, the kind that hides beneath the surface, wearing a mask of indifference or humour, and you won't see it coming, not unless you know what to look for. You see, jealousy isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with dramatic flair. In fact, it can be so quiet, so under the radar, that you might miss it entirely. People often misunderstand this emotion, thinking it's only expressed through anger or aggression, but that's simply not true. When someone feels jealous in a more subtle way, they tend to hide it carefully. For example, if someone cares about you, but can't quite express it yet, maybe because they're unsure of how you feel or too proud to show vulnerability, they might act distant when you mention another person, or they might smile at you, but you notice a brief flicker of hesitation, a subtle shift in their expression when someone else pays you attention. This is when jealousy begins to creep in. It's all about what psychologists call concealed emotional threat. It's the fear that someone else might take away the attention or affection they secretly crave. The issue is, they can't outright admit to these feelings. Not yet. So our jealousy has nowhere to go. It can't burst out into a full-blown argument. Instead, it quietly slinks inward, like a shadow, or leaks out in small, almost unnoticeable ways: a sarcastic comment, a sudden mood swing, or an unexplained silence. Think about it when someone is quietly jealous. It's not about the obvious. It's about what's hidden beneath the surface. It's about the things they haven't yet said. Their jealousy isn't a reaction to what you're doing. It's a reaction to what's happening inside of them. So, when someone seems particularly sensitive when others show you attention, or if their reaction feels a little out of proportion to the situation, don't jump to conclusions. Don't take it personally. What you're seeing isn't about what you said or did. It's about what they haven't been able to express yet. And here's the thing that's often overlooked: the people who care the most are often the ones who say the least. They don't wear their feelings on their sleeves. Their emotions are more like carefully guarded secrets. The louder the person, the more obvious their intentions might seem, but the quieter, more reserved ones, they're the ones who often hold the deepest feelings. Their jealousy, their affection, their attachment, it all stays hidden under a veil of silence. The truth is, jealousy doesn't always have to be toxic or destructive. Sometimes, it's just a sign that someone cares, that they're afraid of losing what they value. But you must remember this. If you find someone subtly reacting to situations with sarcasm or a flicker of discomfort, don't dismiss it. Recognize that it's not necessarily about what you did. It's about what they haven't been able to say yet. So, the next time you catch someone looking at you and it feels a little off, pause, take a moment to reflect. You might just be witnessing the silent stirrings of affection, jealousy, or something even deeper. Don't brush it off. That look, it speaks of things left unsaid. 6. They remember the tiny things you say. When someone keeps looking at you, it's not just their eyes doing the talking, it's a signal of deeper emotions at play. The signs are subtle but powerful, like how they remember the smallest details you share. You think it's trivial, but it's not. It's the way their mind selectively filters out the unimportant, while honing in on what matters most to them. This is selective attention in action. They don't just remember your favorite coffee order, they recall the specifics of your childhood dream or the way a song reminds you of your grandmother. These are emotional bookmarks, deeply ingrained in their mind, stored not just as memories, but as moments that speak to their heart. The human brain naturally filters the constant stream of information it receives, but when someone recalls even the tiniest details of your life, it's more than just good memory. It's emotional investment. The soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind, said Caroline Myss. This is what's happening when someone is drawn to you. Their soul is listening, and they're processing not just the words, but the emotional weight behind them. It shows a level of attentiveness that goes beyond the surface, into the realm of affection. When they notice a subtle change in your tone, your mood, or remember things you've long forgotten saying, it's not just observation, it's a deep, silent declaration of connection. In modern life, this isn't about grand gestures or flashy expressions of affection. It's the quiet, unspoken details that matter. If you want to truly connect with others, focus on the small things, the little gestures, the fleeting moments that most would overlook. The more someone remembers, the more they've invested emotionally. The most important things are the hardest to say, said Stephen King. Recognizing this truth is key to mastering human relationships. Be aware of how people respond to your words, for their actions reveal more than you think. Don't let these moments pass unnoticed. You must pay attention to the small things, for they are often the clearest signals of someone's true feelings. When someone keeps looking at you, they are not just seeing your face, they are seeing your soul. If someone's gaze lingers on you, it's not just their eyes, it's their soul connecting with yours. They remember the small details, the moments that speak to their heart. This is emotional investment, a silent declaration of affection. If you recognize this, you're already more in tune with the true nature of human connection. So, here's what I want you to do. Comment below. I see beyond the surface. I understand the depth of connection. Let's hear from you. Your words could reveal what's truly behind the gaze. 7. The twist. They avoid eye contact, but always know where you are. It's easy to assume that attraction is about those intense, locked gazes, those long, deep stares that make you feel seen. But let's break it down, because the truth can be far more subtle. If someone is secretly drawn to you, especially if they're shy, insecure, or unsure of how you feel, their eyes will often avoid yours. But don't mistake that for disinterest. That's just the surface. In reality, their mind is laser-focused on you. This is where visual attention bias comes into play, a fascinating concept from psychology. When someone is emotionally invested, their brain will involuntarily prioritize your presence, even if they're trying to hide it. So, while they may avoid direct eye contact, they'll be aware of your every move, even without looking. They'll glance when your back is turned, look away quickly when you notice, and divert their attention to something else to hide how much they're actually paying attention. Yet here's where it gets interesting. Even though their eyes may not be on you, their body knows where you are at all times. If you shift across the room, they adjust their posture. If you laugh, their body responds, whether they want it to or not. If someone else gets close to you, they'll notice immediately, because, deep down, their focus is locked onto you, whether or not they're willing to admit it. I've seen this unfold in counseling rooms, classrooms, and even packed social spaces. That's subtle avoidance. It's not a lack of interest. It's self-protection. Sometimes, when emotions run deepest, people hide their eyes, hoping you won't see just how loud their heart is screaming. Attraction is rarely bold. It doesn't always shout from the rooftops. Instead, it often whispers in fleeting glances, nervous fidgets, and quiet proximity. If you learn to tune into these subtle signals, you'll notice what others miss, the hidden language of the heart. This is something I've observed countless times, and it's always the same. The most profound connections often happen in the silences, in the things left unsaid. So, the next time you're left wondering if someone feels more than just a friendship, pay attention to these signs, because, more often than not, it's the unspoken that tells you everything you need to know. This is how the heart communicates without words. Trust me on this one. 8. They subtly seek your approval. When someone keeps looking at you, don't assume it's just a random glance. There's something deeper at play, something older than we realize. It's rooted in the human need for connection and approval, which is where the ancient wisdom of the Stoics comes into play. You might not notice it at first, but there's a certain subtlety to the way someone is trying to seek your approval, and it's a behavior that carries with it a powerful message. When someone is drawn to you, and their gaze lingers more than it probably should, it's not always because they want to say something or have something specific to share. It's often because they are trying to establish a deeper connection with you. You'll see this in how they interact with you, how they ask for your opinion more than anyone else's, or how they seem especially eager to impress you. At first glance, this might seem like a harmless attempt to be polite, but dig deeper, and you'll realize it's more than that. They're subconsciously signaling that they value your judgment, that they're seeking to align themselves with your thoughts and values. It's not an overt request for validation from everyone around them. It's a focused, quiet plea for validation from you. They want your approval, your acknowledgement, and your admiration without directly asking for it. It's not about the world seeing them in a better light. It's about you seeing them in a way that sparks respect or admiration. Think about it. When someone repeatedly asks you about your preferences, whether it's about a social gathering, a work project, or even something as small as your opinion on a book or movie, it's not merely out of curiosity. They are trying to gauge how closely their thoughts and actions align with yours. They want to know what you value, what you like, and what you think, because they want to mirror that, even if they don't realize it. It's their way of saying, I want to be someone you approve of, someone you respect. It's a sign that they are emotionally invested in your perception of them. They're not just seeking approval in general, they're seeking it specifically from you. This subtle behavior can often be overlooked or misinterpreted, but once you see it for what it is, it's clear. This person is silently reaching out, hoping for your approval, and it's their way of showing that they are drawn to you. It's a reflection of their desire to connect with you on a deeper level, to establish a bond that goes beyond surface-level interactions. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that human behavior was often motivated by a deep, subconscious desire for approval and connection. In their wisdom, they would have told you to observe these moments carefully. They weren't just about acknowledging the obvious flattery or compliments. They were about reading between the lines, understanding that these subtle cues were ways people communicated their deeper emotions and desires. So, when someone is persistently seeking your approval, Whether it's by asking for your opinion, expressing interest in your preferences, or just being overly eager to impress, don't ignore it. These are signs that the person is trying to align themselves with your thoughts, and by doing so, they're hoping to form a deeper connection. They're not just trying to be liked by anyone, they are specifically trying to gain your respect, your admiration, and your trust. It's fascinating to consider how ancient philosophies like Stoicism, which emphasize the value of self-control, reason, and emotional wisdom, would have viewed this dynamic. They would have understood that these moments of seeking approval are natural and part of the human condition. The key, though, is recognizing the behavior and understanding what it represents. When someone is repeatedly looking for your approval in subtle ways, it's not a game. It's a powerful signal that they are emotionally invested in how you perceive them. They want to know that they are on the right path, that they are someone worthy of your respect. In these moments, it's important to recognize that this isn't just about you and them. It's about the dynamics of human interaction, the quiet yet profound ways we seek connection with those we admire or feel drawn to. When you recognize this, you'll understand just how much weight your approval can carry, and why some people will go to great lengths, even unconsciously, to gain it. This is a reminder that human interactions are far more complex than they often appear on the surface. 9. They act differently around you than with others. You've probably noticed it before. Someone you interact with seems a bit off around you, or perhaps even in a way that's different from how they behave with everyone else. This isn't a coincidence. If someone consistently changes their behavior when you're nearby, it's not just by chance. It's a strong indicator of hidden attraction. Don't ignore it. People often show who they really are through their actions, even when they don't realize it. Attraction stirs something deep within us, something primal. It's the human equivalent of a Pavlovian response to someone who has caught our interest. If you catch someone standing a little taller, smiling a little more brightly, or speaking with a spark in their voice when you're around, you're witnessing a subconscious change that reveals their feelings. Let's be clear here. Attraction makes us vulnerable. When we find ourselves drawn to someone, we become hyper-aware of how we present ourselves. It's as if we're walking on a tightrope, trying to balance charm and confidence without tipping into awkwardness. That extra bit of self-consciousness is often what leads to a shift in behavior. If they suddenly seem more engaged, more animated, or even a little nervous around you, that's not a fluke. It's their subconscious mind signaling to you that you've made an emotional impact. This shift in behavior is their attempt to make a positive impression, to stand out in a way that highlights their best qualities. Attraction has the power to turn us into slightly different versions of ourselves. We might try to be the cool, calm person we normally are, but deep down, that emotional investment can't help but color our actions. This is one of the most telling signs you can spot when someone is emotionally drawn to you. They act differently around you because, simply put, your presence stirs something within them. You must pay attention to these subtle changes. They can sometimes be hard to catch if you're not looking for them, but the shift in their demeanor is often one of the clearest signs of someone's secret feelings for you. If they consistently make an effort to present a version of themselves that's slightly more charming, more engaged, or even more self-aware when you're around, it's not an accident. It's their unspoken way of saying, I care about how I come across to you. Here's the thing. Attraction doesn't just mean they like you. It means that, on some level, they want to connect. They want to make an impression, to make you feel like you're something worth their time and attention. So, when someone changes how they act around you, take note. It's the body's natural way of responding to emotional triggers. And when you start to see these signals, realize that you're not just witnessing random behavior, you're watching someone try to draw closer, to make a connection, all without uttering a word. That's the power of attraction. Silent, but undeniably clear. And remember, it's not just about the smile or the posture, it's about the emotional undercurrent of those actions. Your presence changes the vibe, and they can't help but react. Attraction does that to people. It shifts the atmosphere. and they are doing their best to make sure they come across in the best possible way. Be aware, because this is one of the clearest signs that their feelings for you are deeper than they're letting on. So, don't dismiss these changes as mere coincidence. They're far more intentional than you might think. If someone consistently acts differently around you, it's likely because, at some level, they want you to see them differently too. 10. They find excuses to touch you. You know the feeling someone's gaze lingers on you, and there's this subtle energy in the air. It's the sort of attention that makes your skin tingle, even if you're trying not to notice it. But here's the thing, it's not just about the stare. If someone keeps looking at you, pay attention to what they do next. Do they find little ways to touch you? A tap on the arm, a hand on your back as they pass by, or maybe even an innocent nudge. These actions are far from random. In fact, they are powerful, subtle signals. Touch is a form of communication older than words. It's primal, ancient, and it speaks directly to the heart. When someone keeps looking at you and finds excuses to touch you, it's not just about physical proximity. It's a sign that they're trying to establish a deeper connection, emotionally and physically. This isn't some fleeting gesture. It's intentional, even if their subconscious mind is doing the talking. Now, let's be clear. These touches aren't necessarily sexual or overtly romantic. No, that's not always the point. Sometimes it's the small things, the brief touch on your arm, the hand brushing against yours, or a tap on the shoulder. Simple, innocent acts. But when they happen frequently, there's more to it than meets the eye. They are opening a door, trying to let you in, even if they haven't consciously admitted it yet. You must understand, this touch is a window into the emotional landscape of a person. There's a reason why ancient Stoics and philosophers put such weight on body language. In their time, they understood that the human body could speak louder than words ever could. A simple touch could express affection, admiration, or even a longing for connection. So, when someone keeps touching you, even in the smallest of ways, it's their silent way of telling you something they might not yet have the courage to say aloud. That is the beauty of this ancient wisdom. It doesn't need to be loud or boisterous. It doesn't need to shout or demand attention. It simply is subtle, yet profound. If someone's repeatedly finding reasons to touch you, it's not by accident. Pay close attention to the pattern. These little moments are clues. They aren't just about being physically close. They're about forging a deeper bond, perhaps even a silent invitation to move beyond surface-level connection. You mustn't dismiss this, especially if you feel it in your gut. Body language is hard to fake. A slight touch on the arm, a hand on your back. They're small, almost imperceptible actions, but they speak volumes. This isn't just idle behavior. It's the start of something meaningful. And that's where you come in. Do you feel the same way? Are you aware of the energy flowing between you? Sometimes, the most profound connections are built not through words, but through the quiet power of touch. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't waste time wondering if it means something or not. If they keep looking at you and keep touching you, it's a sign that they want something more than just a casual acquaintance, something deeper, something lasting. You must realize that these actions are the building blocks of emotional closeness, and you don't have to analyze it endlessly. You simply need to notice it and respond. Remember, this isn't about grand gestures. It's the small things that count. A light tap, a playful nudge, or an accidental touch. These subtle moments carry deep meaning. Don't be blind to them. They are a window into what's happening beneath the surface, into the heart and mind of the person before you. That is the power of touch. Simple, yet profound. And when it happens consistently, it means they're trying to communicate something deeper. So the next time someone keeps looking at you and finds reasons to touch you, take a moment. Consider it as more than just a passing gesture. It's a signal, a message that they are, in their own way, trying to connect with you, and that connection could lead somewhere extraordinary. In the end, it's not just about the look or the touch, it's about the connection that both of you are unconsciously striving for. You must pay attention to these moments. They hold more weight than you realize. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If this video made you think of someone special, share your story in the comments below. I'd really love to hear your experiences. Remember, when someone's gaze lingers, it might not just be about attraction. It could be a sign of something deeper, curiosity, admiration, or maybe even a silent connection. Pay attention to the small details. They often tell you more than words ever could. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the fascinating world of psychology and human connection. Until next time, stay curious and keep reading between the lines. If someone keeps looking at you, this is what it means. Old Stoic Wisdom. The eyes are the windows to the soul. Unknown. Have you ever experienced that fleeting yet intense moment when you catch someone's gaze, only to realize their eyes have been on you for much longer than you thought? It's not just a casual glance, but a repeated, intentional look. Suddenly, you find yourself wondering, why are they watching you? Is it attraction, curiosity, or something more elusive? Perhaps there's something unspoken in their stare, a message they're afraid or unwilling to voice. As someone who's spent years delving into human behavior and the subtle language of body language, I can assure you these repeated glances are never accidental. In fact, they often speak volumes, revealing things we might not even be aware of ourselves. Let's dive into the deeper meanings of these lingering looks and uncover the truth they hold. Part 1. The psychology of a gaze. Let's start with an undeniable truth. Eye contact is an incredibly powerful form of communication, perhaps the most potent one we have. From the moment we're born, we're hardwired to respond to it, almost instinctively. When someone gazes at us, our brain immediately reacts, especially the amygdala, the emotional center that processes feelings like fear, desire, and yes, even love. That's why being watched can feel like more than just a glance. It can feel deeply personal, intense, and often unsettling. But here's where it gets fascinating. Psychology teaches us that people tend to watch what they truly want. Think about it. If someone keeps looking at you, it's not some accidental moment. They're not fixating on something they don't care about. That gaze is purposeful, even if it's subconscious. It's attention, focused and deliberate. So when you find yourself being stared at, understand this. It's not random. There's intention behind it. The eyes have a way of revealing what words are too afraid to express. Whether it's admiration, curiosity, or something more profound. The eyes don't lie. That gaze might be more than what it seems. It could be a window into deeper emotions, unspoken desires, or even silent yearning. Don't just dismiss it. Instead, pay attention. When someone keeps looking at you, know that it's no accident. It's a message, perhaps not spoken aloud, but powerfully conveyed. Never underestimate the weight of someone's gaze. It might be saying far more than words ever could. Part 2. 5 possible meanings behind the stare. You know that moment when someone is staring at you, and you catch them in the act. It's not awkward. It's actually something far more interesting. The eyes are the window to the soul, and they hold the keys to understanding emotions, intentions, and desires. As we explored earlier, eye contact isn't just a random occurrence. It's a deeply telling form of communication. So, what does it mean when someone can't seem to stop looking at you? Let's break it down. And trust me, you'll want to pay attention to the power of this unspoken connection. The next time someone locks eyes with you, you'll know exactly what it means. No more guessing. Here are 5 possible explanations for that unrelenting stare. 1. They're attracted to you. Let's start with the most obvious one, the stare that doesn't let go. Well, chances are they like what they see. When someone is drawn to you, it's often a subconscious action that they don't even realize they're doing. Science backs this up. Our brains are wired to respond to attraction. You've seen it, haven't you? That subtle gaze that lingers, the slight dilation of the pupils, the sudden warmth in their expression when your eyes meet. It's not an accident. When we're attracted to someone, the brain's reward system lights up like a Christmas tree, and when you notice someone staring at you, don't just brush it off. Take a moment and observe. If their lips curl into a smile right after that eye contact, it's a classic subconscious signal of attraction. You don't need to ask them, "Hey, do you like me?" because their eyes are already telling you everything you need to know. But here's the kicker. It's not just about physical attraction. This is emotional too. Attraction isn't just about appearance. It's about energy, presence, and the way your aura draws them in. So, next time you catch someone's eyes lingering a little longer than usual, don't be shy. Be confident. They might just be enamored with you. 2, they're trying to read you. Okay, this one is a bit trickier. The stare might feel intense, but not in the way attraction does. No, this is more about curiosity. They're trying to figure you out. Welcome to the world of social scanning. In the world of psychology, we know that people often stare at others to read their body language, facial expressions, and, most importantly, the eyes. Your gaze is a rich source of information. It can reveal how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and whether you're open to conversation. So, why might they be doing this? They could be unsure of where they stand with you. Maybe they're trying to gauge your emotional temperature. Are you interested in them, or do you not care? Are you open and approachable, or guarded and distant when someone stares at you this way? They're not just admiring your face. They're observing your every movement, your every little twitch of the eyebrow, and your eyes' subtle shift. They're looking for the signals that tell them whether they should move forward or retreat. And sometimes, this kind of stare comes with hesitation. It's almost as if they're waiting for permission to take the next step. Whether it's a conversation, a deeper connection, or simply deciding if you're someone they want to engage with, they need to read you first. The stare may be silent, but it speaks volumes. 3, they feel a deep emotional connection. Now, this is where things get a little deeper. If someone's looking at you with an almost unbreakable gaze, it might not be just about attraction. It could be about a deep, emotional connection. There's a certain warmth that comes with this kind of eye contact, almost as if their eyes are filled with familiarity and comfort. You've experienced it, right? That feeling of gazing at someone you've known for years, and even if you don't speak a word, there's an understanding. It's like the eyes are doing all the talking. In these moments, their eyes aren't just looking, they're connecting. Here's the science behind it. Eye contact releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This hormone plays a significant role in how we form emotional connections with others. When you share a bond with someone, your eyes naturally seek out theirs, drawn like magnets. You may not even be conscious of it, but the connection is undeniable. You could be friends, family, or even long-lost acquaintances. Whatever the relationship, the eyes are an indicator that something deeper exists, something that words might not fully capture. When someone looks at you this way, it's not about the moment or the situation. It's about the years of shared experiences or the emotional ties that keep pulling them back to you. 4, they're fighting their feelings. The inner turmoil stare. This one is intense, and it's often confusing. You'll notice the gaze is not constant. They look at you, then quickly look away, then return for another glance, maybe a little longer this time. This is the battle of emotions, the quiet war within. Here's the deal: they feel something, but they're not sure how to handle it. Maybe it's attraction they're trying to suppress, or maybe it's a feeling they simply don't want to acknowledge. The stare may be brief, but it's repeated because they can't help it. It's as if their heart and mind are fighting for dominance. Their brain says one thing, but their heart says another, and in this battle, their eyes betray them. This kind of stare is not about curiosity or deep connection. It's about internal conflict. They feel something for you, whether it's love, desire, or even jealousy, but they're not ready to accept it. Perhaps they're afraid of the consequences, unsure of how you feel, or simply not prepared for the vulnerability that comes with letting their emotions surface. Don't be fooled by the hesitation or the way they look away quickly. It's not indifference. It's the sign of someone wrestling with their feelings. 5, They're hiding something. Sometimes, the eyes don't reveal love or curiosity. They reveal something darker, guilt, jealousy, or regret. If someone is staring at you, but the look is intense yet hollow, it could be a sign that they're hiding something. We've all been there. You're caught up in your emotions, and your eyes can't help but give you away. Whether they've done something wrong or have unresolved feelings about you, their gaze will shift in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, like they're trying to send a secret message without speaking. What are they hiding? It could be guilt about something they said or did. Maybe they regret a decision they made. Or maybe they feel jealous of something you have. Whether it's your success, your happiness, or even your relationship. In any case, the eyes don't lie. They can't. So if someone keeps staring at you with an unsettled look, know that there's more beneath the surface. There's a story being told, and it's one that they might not be ready to reveal just yet. Part 3. Context is everything. When someone keeps staring at you, understand this, the meaning goes beyond the simple act of looking. Context is everything. A lingering gaze at a crowded party could indicate romantic interest, while the same stare in a meeting might reveal curiosity or even silent competition. That's where you need to sharpen your awareness. Pay attention to the setting and their behavior. These are your keys to interpreting the situation. If they look at you when they think you're not watching, this often signals hidden emotions. Maybe it's attraction, or perhaps something they're avoiding confronting within themselves. If their gaze holds steady when you meet their eyes, that confidence is their way of wanting you to notice them. It's a bold move, a challenge, a sign they are engaging on a deeper level. But if they stare without speaking to you, don't assume indifference. They may be emotionally invested, but are held back by fear or uncertainty. The truth lies in their body language. Notice their movements. Are they fidgeting or touching their face or hair? These are the subtle signs of nervous attraction, the body betraying the mind's inner conflict. Pay attention to mirroring behavior, too. When they mimic your gestures or posture, it's a subconscious attempt to connect. Even the smallest signs matter: the way they adjust their clothing, glance at their phone but fail to check anything, or angle their body towards you. These actions are louder than words, revealing a truth that words alone cannot express. You must understand this when someone repeatedly looks at you. Their eyes may be guiding the moment, but their body is speaking the real language. Take note, because in the silence of these unspoken signals, you'll find the most profound understanding. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." It's the same with interactions. Understand what you need, not what you want to see. Life is about mastering these subtleties. This is how you read people, master the room, and take control of the conversation. Don't be passive. Engage, observe, and be decisive in your actions. If you want to thrive, you must see things clearly. Part 4, what you should do about it. So now that you have an idea of what their stare could mean, the question arises, what should you do about it? The gaze that's been lingering, the look that feels like it's holding a secret, what does it all add up to? First, don't rush to conclusions. Our minds are sneaky. They love to fill in the blanks, especially when emotions are stirred. But remember, one glance, or even a series of them, is just a single piece of a much larger puzzle. Is it really that simple? No. You must resist jumping straight into an interpretation based on one fleeting moment. Instead, be patient. Watch the pattern over time. Does their gaze stay consistent, or does it shift as if trying to decipher your mood? Pay attention to the little details. Are there any subtle signs accompanying the stare, like nervous laughter, a quick glance when you smile, or them standing or sitting near you without a clear reason? If these signs match up with the staring, chances are something's going on. But now, let's assume you're intrigued, and you want to explore what's behind those eyes. What's next? Here's your moment. Try this. Hold their gaze for just 3 seconds. It's not about being a creep. It's about control. Long enough to be noticed, short enough to keep it mysterious. In fact, this simple gesture has been studied in social psychology and it often triggers a mirror response. That's right, they might not even realize it, but they'll likely return your gaze, because when two people are drawn to each other, their eyes don't lie. If they feel the same way, you'll see it in the way their pupils lock onto yours, or even how their body subtly reacts with nervous excitement. But let's be real. What if it feels uncomfortable? What if the stare sends chills down your spine rather than sparks? This is your moment to exercise wisdom. It's absolutely okay to set boundaries. Listen to your body. Listen to that inner voice. Your intuition is your first language of self-protection. You don't need to explain yourself, nor should you feel obligated to do so. You simply look away. Or better yet, create space. There's power in choice. Never forget that. The goal here isn't just about decoding someone else's emotions or trying to get to the bottom of their silent message. No. The real goal is to stay true to yours. That's the secret. Their eyes may be trying to say something, but your response, that's your power. You can take control of the situation by choosing how to react. Don't let someone's stare throw you off course. Be clear about your own feelings, and remember, you don't have to engage with someone else's energy unless you are certain it aligns with yours. Their gaze may hold curiosity, attraction, or something else entirely, but your gaze, that's where the real magic happens. You decide what happens next. In the end, trust your instincts. Watch the signals. If their stare is one of admiration, go ahead. Make that connection with a gentle, confident gaze. But if their stare feels invasive, uncomfortable, or just doesn't sit right, create your boundaries. That's how you master the subtle art of eye contact, guided by Old Stoic Wisdom. You control your response, and in that, you control the outcome. Don't let anyone else's stare steal your peace of mind. The world is full of distractions, but your gaze should always reflect your inner calm and strength. Always remember this. Their stare is a momentary piece of their story, but your reaction is the unfolding chapter of your own. Keep your boundaries firm, your heart steady, and your eyes full of purpose. You've got this. Twist ending, the silent confession. When someone keeps looking at you, there's often more to it than simply wanting to be noticed. It's not always about admiration or attraction. Sometimes, it's the only way they know how to speak when words fail them. Not everyone has the ability or courage to express their feelings verbally. Beneath the surface, some people carry unspoken emotions, fear, love, regret, deep within themselves, emotions they're not able to release into the world with words. And so, they stare at you, quietly, repeatedly, hoping that their eyes will convey what their voice never could. It's a silent confession, a longing to communicate without uttering a single syllable. Think about it. There are people who might look at you because they're afraid you'll reject them. The fear of rejection is paralyzing for many, and they avoid speaking their truth because the possibility of being turned away is too painful to bear. So, they say nothing, but their eyes scream everything. You might also encounter someone who looks at you because they feel they've lost their chance to make their feelings known. Maybe they waited too long, hesitated at the wrong moment, and now they wonder if it's too late to change things. In such cases, that lingering gaze is filled with unspoken regret, a yearning for what could have been. And then there are those who are simply in love. Their heart aches for you, and yet they don't have the words to express it. Maybe they know the relationship can't move forward. Maybe they're afraid of vulnerability, or maybe they just want to stay close in the only way they can. Through their eyes, they search for connection, silently hoping you'll understand the emotions they're too scared or unable to voice. But that look, whether filled with longing, uncertainty, or sorrow, is an invitation for you to see them, to truly see the parts of them they cannot speak. You must understand this sometimes. The eyes do not simply look, they beg to be understood. They are telling you something without saying a word. It's easy to ignore it, to brush it off as nothing, but that's a mistake. The next time someone keeps staring at you, don't just ask, "Why are they staring?" Ask instead, What are they feeling that they can't say? There's a wealth of meaning in that simple question. Behind every lingering glance, there is a story waiting to be understood, and maybe even a heart waiting to be heard. As the great philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. It is in the silence of their stare that their soul reveals itself to you." We often overlook the unspoken, dismissing it as insignificant, but in truth, the eyes carry a message far stronger than words could ever communicate. There is wisdom in learning to understand what is not said, in recognizing the subtle cues and silent messages that people leave behind in their gaze. Next time you catch someone's stare, don't simply ignore it or assume they're just looking for attention. Look deeper. Learn to recognize the unspoken emotions they might be hiding. That person might be wrestling with feelings they can't articulate, battling with thoughts they can't share. They might be silently pleading for you to understand them, for you to see what lies beneath their exterior. In those moments, you have an opportunity to connect on a level that goes beyond words, to see and understand them in a way that few ever do. You must not ignore the power of these silent confessions. You must learn to see them for what they are. Epictetus, another great Stoic, once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In a similar way, true strength and wisdom do not lie in what is loudly spoken, but in recognizing and understanding what remains unsaid. There is a profound strength in being able to connect with someone without them uttering a single word. It requires a deeper level of awareness, a willingness to engage with what's beneath the surface, and the courage to respond with empathy and understanding. This is your chance to master the art of reading people, not through their words, but through their eyes, their gaze, their silent confessions. That is where the true mastery of life lies. Don't shy away from the discomfort of silence. Instead, embrace it. Respond to it with understanding, with compassion, and with the certainty that you are not just seeing someone's face, you are seeing their soul. The eyes, as ancient wisdom teaches us, are windows to the soul. When you recognize this, when you can understand and respond to the silent confessions in the eyes of others, you begin to truly master the art of a human connection. Next time someone stares at you, remember, it is not just a glance. It's an invitation to see them deeply, to understand them more fully than words could ever express. Don't miss it, don't ignore it, look deeper. And in doing so, you will learn to read the unspoken language that holds the keys to true connection. This is the way of the wise, the way of the Stoic. Master it, and you will master your life. Hey there, thanks for watching, and I hope this gave you something to think about. If you've ever found yourself in that situation, where someone's eyes seem to speak louder than words, just remember, those moments are powerful. People's gaze often reveals far more than they intend. So don't be afraid to trust what you're seeing. And hey, if this resonated with you or made you reflect on something new, show some love by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on love and human behavior. And hit the bell so you never miss out on what your own heart is trying to tell you. Drop your story in the comments. I'm all ears and read every one. Your experience might be the exact thing someone else needs to hear. Until next time, take care. And remember, sometimes, the eyes say it best. 6 boundaries that make women respect you more. Old Stoic Wisdom. Respect is earned, not demanded. Unknown. There's a powerful truth that high-value men live by. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you become. Here's the hard reality. Women don't respect your words. They respect your boundaries. They respect your spine. They respect what you stand firm on, what you say no to, more than any yes you offer. The real reason relationships fade isn't when love dies. It's when respect disappears. Often, a man loses his woman, not because his feelings change, but because he begins to forfeit his power, piece by piece, in the subtle ways. This is where the shift happens. It's time to stop handing away your strength in small doses. I'm about to share the 6 most powerful boundaries you can set, not to control her, but to master yourself so completely that she'll have no choice but to see you as the man you truly are. Want to begin commanding that kind of respect? Comment below, I choose respect. Number 1, never reward disrespect. In the world of relationships, one undeniable truth remains: respect is earned, not given. Every man needs to understand that the moment you accept disrespect from a woman, no matter how long you've been together or what you've done for her, you lose your value in her eyes. The second you tolerate belittlement, condescension, or being ignored without standing up for yourself, she stops seeing you as a man to be admired. Instead, she views you as a tool for convenience, someone she can use at will. And here's the brutal reality. This isn't just about her feeling a certain way. It's about how you allow her to see you. If she can disrespect you without consequence, she stops feeling that underlying tension of having to earn your trust and loyalty. She no longer feels a desire to work for your love. She might stick around, but her admiration is gone. And without respect, desire fades into nothingness. Let that sink in. You must never reward disrespect. The moment you let disrespect slide, whether it's staying silent after being insulted, apologizing for something that's not your fault, or waiting around after she's left you hanging for hours, you signal one thing loud and clear: my self-worth depends on your attention. And that, my friend, is a death sentence to any attraction. Women don't test you because they're cruel. They're testing you to see if you're a man of strength or a man who bends to weakness. A man without boundaries is not a safe space. He's a soft, easily manipulated space. A woman needs strength, not a weak man she can walk all over. When you cave under pressure, she doesn't feel love. She feels unsafe. She needs to feel protected. And a man who allows his dignity to be trampled cannot protect anyone, let alone her. So, how do you shift this? How do you become that man who commands silent respect, who earns admiration with every action? You establish clear boundaries without becoming a raging storm. A man who never yells, never begs, and never explains, but also never tolerates disrespect. This is the man you must become. You must recognize disrespect in all its forms, not just the loud and obvious insults. Disrespect isn't only in the big arguments, it's in the subtle slights. When she interrupts you constantly, mocks your goals, brings up her ex to get under your skin, or texts other men and calls you insecure when you question it. It's in the silent treatment instead of honest communication. All of these are quiet blows to your spirit, and you must call them out. When you do it calmly. Make it clear that you won't accept this behavior. For example, don't speak to me that way again. If you do, I'm done. No need to repeat yourself. No need for arguments. Simply leave if it happens again. When you take a stand like this, 2 things happen. She either rises to the challenge or she walks away. And if she walks away, that's not failure, that's progress. Let her go. You've just cut the parasite from your life. 1 step closer to becoming the unshakable man you're destined to be. But this isn't just about women. It's about how you carry yourself through life. With your boss, your friends, and your family, how people treat you is a direct reflection of how you allow them to treat you. If you allow disrespect, you train people to see you as weak. If you set clear boundaries, you start to attract respect. You must start standing firm in your standards, not from ego, but from necessity. A man with no boundaries is doomed to exhaustion and resentment. He'll burn out and, eventually, explode. But a man who honors himself, who establishes those iron-mind boundaries, becomes solid. His focus sharpens. His life aligns with who he truly is, and only those who respect him will be allowed to enter it. This is not arrogance. This is evolution. This is the path to unshakable respect. So, how do you do it in practical terms? Here's the blueprint. If she flakes on you, don't chase. If she mocks your values, don't explain. If she brings drama into your life, don't engage. You set the standard. You walk away from the table when disrespect is served. You leave, not once, but every time. And if she wants to earn her way back into your life, it will not be through apologies. It will be through consistent, respectful behavior. The hard truth is this: if you're addicted to her attention, it means you've failed to build a life for yourself that's worthy of your own attention. Redirect that obsession. Focus on creating something that doesn't need approval. Build a business. Develop a skill that makes you valuable, not just to women, but to the world. Invest in your body and mind. Wake up earlier. Run when your body says stop. Lift weights until your arms go numb. That pain becomes strength, and that strength becomes discipline. Discipline sharpens your mind and brings clarity to every decision you make. You need to stop living for fleeting pleasures and start creating lasting value. Cut out anything that doesn't serve your growth: weak friends, draining places, and mindless distractions. Organize your life, study, clean your space, be brutal in your standards. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you rob yourself of the greatness you're meant to achieve. This is where the old Stoic wisdom comes in self-control and clarity of purpose, allow you to build a life of strength and integrity. When you stop tolerating disrespect, you stop tolerating mediocrity in yourself. You elevate, you transform. This is not about demanding respect from others. It's about becoming the kind of man who commands it. People will either fear you, admire you, or simply not dare to disrespect you. And the woman who once played games with you, she'll look at you one day, and she won't recognize the man she once knew. And that, my friend, will haunt her far more than anything you could ever say. You will become unshakable. You will rise, drawing a line in the sand and standing firm behind it, no matter the cost. Start now. Don't wait. Your greatness is on the other side of your boundaries. Number 2. Guard your peace. If there is one principle that will set the tone for the rest of your life, it is this: peace is not something that just happens by chance. It's something you must guard with unwavering determination, as if your very life depends on it, because, in many ways, it does. A man who lacks peace is a man perpetually on edge, constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, reacting to everything and everyone in survival mode. He is not truly living. He is simply performing for others: women, friends, family, colleagues, people who, quite frankly, wouldn't bat an eye if he crumbled tomorrow. Eventually, a man must wake up to the stark realization that his peace is his power. Not wealth, not status, not even women. Peace, because it's in this state of tranquility that your decisions cease to be reactions. They become choices, deliberate and intentional. Peace is the ultimate flex. It's invisible, yet its impact is profound. You walk into a room, and people feel it. You speak, and others listen, not because you shout, but because your silence carries weight. It's that calm confidence that doesn't need validation. It's a foundation so strong that no external force can shake it. This, my friend, is what the ancient Stoic principles are all about: maintaining control over your inner world, no matter what chaos erupts around you. But here's the problem. Most men fail to protect their peace. They leak it constantly. Every text they feel compelled to respond to instantly, every argument they engage in, every chaotic person they tolerate, every favor they say yes to out of guilt, it all drains them. Every moment spent explaining their worth to others is another crack in their peace. And before they know it, they're a hollow shell, wearing the mask of a man who once had dreams and drive. You cannot build an empire with a chaotic mind, and you certainly cannot lead a meaningful relationship with an anxious soul. Without peace, respect becomes elusive. Women sense it immediately. They can tell when your attention is scattered, when your time isn't sacred, when your space has no discipline. They can feel when you're constantly at their mercy. And here's the catch. That doesn't make them love you more. It makes them feel like they're steering the ship. No woman respects a man who is led by anyone or anything, especially not her. So, what does it mean to guard your peace first? It means becoming unavailable to chaos, not as an act of avoidance, but as a conscious decision to design your life with intent. Every input, every relationship, every habit must be examined. Does this protect or poison my peace? If it poisons it, it goes immediately. No second chances, no dramatic exits, just gone. You don't engage in arguments because arguments demand that you prove yourself, and a man at peace doesn't need to explain himself to chaos. You stop chasing attention and approval because chasing only pulls you out of the present moment. You stop scrolling endlessly on your phone because each scroll is a choice to numb your mind instead of building something meaningful. Guarding your peace also means a radical approach to your time and your environment. You wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because the hours before the world wakes up are your fortress. You read, not to impress others, but to remind yourself that your problems are small in the grand scheme of things. You walk alone, not because you're lonely, but because you've learned to be content in solitude. You train your body, not for external validation, but because physical discipline is spiritual war. You keep your space clean, not to impress a date, but because chaos cannot survive where order lives. Your peace is the foundation of everything you are and everything you do. And, as the Stoic rules go, it's in these quiet, small decisions that the man with the strong inner world rises above the noise of the world. The man who owns his mind owns his world. The man who cannot be lured into arguments, chaos, guilt, urgency, or distraction becomes untouchable. And this is what women, employers, friends, and even other men admire, though they may not be able to articulate it. When a woman creates emotional noise, it's not to destroy you. She's testing your edges. She's testing to see if your world bends when she leans too hard. If every poke sends you spiraling into reaction, she knows there is no core, just a man who bends to every whim. But if you sit back, hold the silence longer than her confusion, and respond only when you choose to, you're not just guarding your peace, you're declaring that it's non-negotiable. Eventually, she either adapts to your frequency or she exits your life. And that's a win, because the moment you give up your peace to keep someone around is the moment you lose yourself. And if you lose yourself, there's no point in being loved. The man she loves is the one who stands firm, unyielding, in his peace. And what's the point of love if it requires your soul as collateral now? Understand this, you are the architect of your life. Build a peace so strong it offends the chaotic. Build a peace that repels distractions and pulls the right people toward you. And here's the beauty. When you live with this kind of peace, everything you used to chase, validation, love, attention, respect, starts chasing you. You become that rare man who doesn't need the world to see him to feel whole. That peace will heal you. It will sharpen your decisions, reveal your true friends, teach you how to love without losing yourself, and build a foundation that no betrayal, no setback, no woman, and no loss can shake. Guard your peace like gold, because once you own it, you'll never trade it for chaos again. This is practical stoicism at its finest. The ability to control your inner world in a way that shapes your external world. You can't lead a peaceful life if your mind is in constant turmoil. Protect your peace and watch as the world aligns with you, not the other way around. If you find this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I protect my peace, and it strengthens my power. By guarding your peace, you create an untouchable foundation in your life. When you let go of chaos, drama, and distractions, you show the world and women that your mind is unshakable. This is the path to earning respect, not just from others, but from yourself. Share your commitment to peace by commenting on the affirmation above. Number 3, don't share too much. To earn the deep respect of women, you must become a man who embodies strength, resilience, and emotional mastery, qualities that have been revered throughout history, particularly in the ancient paths of wisdom laid down by philosophers like Epictetus. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of oversharing, thinking that opening up emotionally will bring you closer to the woman you desire. But the reality is starkly different. A respected man doesn't share everything at once. He understands the power of boundaries, and how those boundaries, when properly respected, build intrigue and fascination. When you reveal too much of yourself too quickly, You risk overwhelming her and turning yourself into a project. The man who seeks validation by constantly talking about his struggles, fears, and doubts creates an emotional burden for his partner. Women are not drawn to men who need saving. They are attracted to men who can handle their emotions with composure and grace. Men who understand that true connection is built on mystery, strength, and intentional vulnerability. This principle is one of the cornerstones of Stoic philosophy, which has been practiced by great minds throughout history. Epictetus, one of the foremost Stoics, teaches us that it is not the events themselves that shape us, but how we respond to them. In modern terms, this means that your response to emotional challenges is more important than the challenges themselves. Women don't want to be emotionally responsible for you. They want to be with a man who stands firm in the face of adversity, who can manage his emotions with the calm of someone who has already mastered his inner world. The moment you start relying on her to manage your pain, to carry your emotional load, you lose respect in her eyes. You become someone she feels obligated to nurture, rather than the strong, steady partner she is drawn to. She wants to feel your depth, but she does not want to bear the weight of your wounds every day. Instead of constantly unloading your emotions onto her, let her see your strength in action. When you remain grounded, when you carry your burdens without expecting her to shoulder them, you will command her admiration. Think of the most respected men in your life, the ones who seem unshaken by the turmoil around them, the ones who carry themselves with a quiet, unwavering strength. Rarely do they talk about themselves. Rarely do they overshare their emotional struggles. Instead, they offer glimpses into their inner world. And when they do, it's on their terms, and only when the time is right. They are not afraid to be vulnerable, but their vulnerability is strategic. It is not a constant stream of emotion, but rather a deliberate reveal that adds depth to their character. This is how you should approach your emotional life. You must learn to control what you share and when you share it. When you overshare, you kill the mystery. You make yourself predictable, and predictability is the enemy of attraction. Women are drawn to men who have layers they have to uncover. When you give it all away up front, you strip away the excitement, the challenge, and ultimately, the desire. Women want to be with men they can't quite figure out, men who hold their ground, who are strong enough to remain silent when necessary and speak when it matters most. As Epictetus would say, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Similarly, emotional mastery doesn't lie in revealing everything about yourself, but in maintaining the ability to control what you express. When you're too open, you create emotional clutter. She doesn't know how to process it, and instead of feeling closer to you, she feels overwhelmed. Instead of respecting your openness, she begins to question your stability. And instead of leaning in to be closer to you, she might start to pull away. She may comfort you, but she no longer sees you as the protector. She starts to see you as her emotional equal. And while that may sound noble, it fundamentally shifts the dynamic between you. Respect is rooted in the tension between a man and a woman, the space between what she knows about you and what she has yet to discover. This is not about hiding yourself or being deceitful. It's about preserving that sacred distance, that sense of mystery that keeps her intrigued. When you share everything at once, you kill that tension. And when the tension dies, so does desire. This is why the most respected men don't constantly talk about themselves. They speak only when their words carry weight. They reveal enough to spark curiosity, but they never hand over the entire blueprint of their emotional lives. They remain magnetic because they understand that their value lies not in how much they share, but in what they choose to withhold. You've been conditioned to believe that vulnerability equals connection, that to be close to a woman, you must open up. But look at the men who truly command respect. They don't need to explain themselves constantly. They don't try to be relatable or constantly seek approval. Instead, they radiate strength, confidence, and emotional mastery. This is the true power of emotional vulnerability. Not to share everything, but to know when to hold back, when to stand firm, and when to reveal only what enhances the relationship. Your mission in life, your vision, your journey should never be up for debate. When you share it too freely, you risk diluting its power. When you let your insecurities bleed out in an attempt to be understood, you weaken your edge. It's important to practice the power of presence. Be present in the moment. Be emotionally aware, but not emotionally dependent. Don't speak every time you feel something. Instead, take action. Turn your confusion into clarity. Let your emotional world become a fortress that only those who earn it can enter. The key to building attraction, respect, and deep connection lies in how you reveal yourself. When she does earn access to your inner world, you don't drown her in emotions. You invite her to witness your resilience. You don't offload your burdens on her. You let her see your strength. You reveal yourself slowly, intentionally, like the sunrise, gradual, beautiful, and earned. This is how you become unforgettable. This is how you cultivate a deep, unshakable attraction. You're not simply a man with a story. You're a man with a center, with purpose, and with emotional mastery. This is how you maintain your edge. This is how you stay respected, not just in your relationships, but in every room you walk into. As you move forward in life, remember the path of wisdom that Stoicism provides. Master your emotions, control what you reveal, and remain mysterious. The most magnetic men in history have understood this truth. True strength doesn't need validation. It simply exists. And that's what makes you not just a man, but an unforgettable force. Number 4. No emotional reactivity. Don't be fooled by the world's obsession with quick reactions. Real power is not about being emotionally absent. It's about being emotionally sovereign. An iron mind isn't one that's indifferent. It's one that can choose its responses, no matter the storm. You must understand that true control comes not from suppressing your emotions, but from mastering them. A man who reacts impulsively to every emotional trigger is a man who is enslaved by his feelings. The world wants you to be reactive, and women, too, will test your ability to stay grounded. Weak men respond to every provocation. They fold under pressure. But the man who has an iron mind, who stays unmoved amidst chaos, exudes silent dominance. Imagine the scene she tests you. Maybe it's a sharp remark, a sudden shift in mood, or a withdrawal of affection. And for a moment, your stomach churns, your mind races, words stumble from your mouth in a frantic attempt to regain control. This is emotional reactivity at its worst. When your internal peace is hijacked by someone else's mood swings, the moment she sees she can move you like this, the dynamic begins to wither. But this isn't about being cold-hearted, it's about becoming unshakable. Emotional sovereignty means you can feel deeply, but you're not at the mercy of those feelings. This is where the old Stoic wisdom comes in. Control the inner world, and the outer world will bend to your strength. Think about it, the man who stands unflinching when tested by a woman's moods, by a disrespectful stranger, or by an unfair critique, is the man who commands genuine respect. He doesn't lash out. He doesn't need to explain himself. He simply remains rooted. His presence alone speaks volumes. Women aren't looking for a robot. They want a man who is deeply human, but still unmoved by the storms of life. She will test you, yes, but she will also observe how you handle the storm. The man who doesn't flinch when chaos rains down is a revelation in a world full of men who crumble. But you can't fake this. You can't pretend to be calm if you're boiling inside. It's not enough to put on a facade. It requires inner work. This is where true strength lies. Start with the uncomfortable parts of yourself, the parts that panic when someone disagrees with you, when someone pulls away, or when your pride is wounded. You must face these fears head on. Look them in the eye and say, "You do not lead me anymore." This is where emotional sovereignty begins. You start observing your reactions, not obeying them. You gain the space between stimulus and response, and in that space, you will find your power. It's in that moment of stillness where kings are made. And once you gain control of your emotional responses, everything changes. You start to see things others miss. You hear the hidden meanings in her words, instead of just reacting to them. You no longer need the last word. You stop defending your character to people who aren't even qualified to judge it. Your attention becomes your most precious asset, and those who wish to access it must come correct. This calmness draws respect from others. Those who used to provoke you will find themselves frustrated, as they can no longer move you. But the ones who respect strength, true, silent strength, will be drawn to you like bees to honey. The impact is profound. You'll notice that you talk less, but when you speak, your words carry weight. You move slower, more deliberately, you observe more, study more, and act less impulsively. You stop reacting to her mood swings or her silence. You understand that her emotions are hers to handle, not yours to fix. When you can stand as a steady container for her emotional waves without drowning in them, she will trust you more than any other man. Not because you saved her, but because you remained intact while she tested you. And this emotional discipline is not just a relationship asset, it's a life-changing superpower. Most men are slaves to their emotions, hiding behind false passion. They fight pointless battles, burning bridges because their egos were bruised. They defend fragile pride and chase arguments that don't matter. But you walk through life with an iron mind, bypassing chaos as if it were beneath you. Someone challenges your ideas in a meeting. You smile. A friend betrays you. You don't retaliate. You fade away like smoke from a fire. People gossip about you. You say nothing, because truth has no need to panic. In the face of rejection, oversight, or failure, you don't crumble. Instead, you rise with purpose and clarity. Your life's direction is chosen with discipline, and every boundary you set strengthens your empire. This emotional discipline is what separates you from the crowd. This is the mark of a man who commands respect without saying a word. This is the true power of an iron mind, rooted in the old Stoic wisdom to remain steady, to choose your response, and to never lose yourself in the chaos. That's how you earn the respect of women and everyone else, who will stand in awe of the calm you carry within. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more wisdom on mastering emotional sovereignty and building true strength, to show you're ready to lead your life with discipline and emotional mastery. Comment below, I am emotionally sovereign. Let's connect and grow together. Number 5, always be willing to walk away. Too many men live in fear. They stay in jobs that drain their energy, in relationships that deplete their strength, in friendships that chip away at their respect. Why? Because they're afraid. Afraid of the unknown, afraid of starting over, afraid of what people might think. They shrink, they smile, and they convince themselves it's not that bad. And slowly, they become invisible, not just to others, but to themselves. But the man who is willing to walk away from anything that insults his soul, that man is terrifying. That man exudes a quiet magnetism that commands respect. He doesn't stay for comfort. He stays because whatever he's involved in aligns with his standard, his values, his higher purpose. The moment that alignment is broken, he walks. Simple as that. This is one of the core lessons of Stoic Principles, the ability to detach from what doesn't serve your growth. It applies in every area of life, but especially in relationships. Women sense it. They know when you're sticking around because you're addicted to their presence versus when you stay because their presence brings peace, growth, and purpose into your life. The first type of man he's tested, relentlessly. The second kind, she knows her place. She knows if she disrespects him, he's gone. And make no mistake, walking away doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you're loyal to yourself. First and foremost, it means you're saying, I love you, but I love my values more. I love my peace more. I love the man I am becoming more. That kind of detachment isn't cold, it's divine. It frees you from the trap of begging for crumbs, and it elevates your circle. You set the Stoic rules of engagement for your life. It purifies your space and reminds you that nothing, no relationship, no job, no situation, is worth keeping if it costs you your identity. This is the beauty of practical Stoicism. When you live with a detached, rock-solid self-respect, people will either rise to meet you or they will exit your life. There's no in-between. The moment you stop tolerating mediocrity, everything shifts. Your standard becomes your filter. The people, situations, and even your own mind are forced to align with your highest self. You must become so secure in your own worth that you are willing to walk away from pleasure, comfort, attention, validation, and even love if it means protecting your mission, your purpose, and your peace. That's when you become truly dangerous, not to others, but to anything that tries to cage you, to pull you into a mediocre existence. Here's the truth that most people won't tell you: real growth comes after you walk. The clarity, the expansion, the strength. It doesn't come when you're clinging to something that doesn't serve you. It comes in the silence that follows your final step away. In that silence, you meet the next version of yourself, the one who no longer tolerates chaos for company, the man who doesn't beg for approval, the one who doesn't stay in relationships, jobs, or situations just to feel needed. Stoic principles teach us that emotional attachment can lead to suffering. The more you cling to something that drains you, the less power you have. Walk away from anything that makes you forget who you truly are. And once you've mastered this art, you'll never beg, chase, or tolerate disrespect again. The moment you choose self-respect over comfort is the moment your life truly begins. Not just your relationships, not just your confidence, but your entire life. The old version of you, the one who cowered to insecurity, vanishes. The man you are becoming doesn't seek approval. He builds standards. He doesn't fold under pressure. He sharpens in silence. He doesn't need to be understood. He needs to be undeniable. You were never meant to live on your knees for love, attention, or acceptance. You were meant to walk in power, quietly, calmly, and with the unshakable knowledge that respect is not something you demand, it's something you design. If this shift resonated with you, don't let it fade. Lock it in. This isn't the end, it's the start of a new era, a version of you that no longer tolerates being anything less than the man you were born to be. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the power you already possess, subscribe to the channel. This journey of mastering yourself, of living according to your highest standards, is just beginning. Number 6. Cultivate emotional independence. Let me tell you this straight. If you are the kind of man who seeks approval from others to feel good about yourself, you're already walking a dangerous path. A man who lacks emotional independence is a man who is vulnerable. Women respect a man who is unwavering in his emotions, someone who cannot be swayed by every mood, every shift in circumstance. This isn't just a trait, it's a standard, and it's rooted in the ancient wisdom of the Stoics, the paths of wisdom that tell us that true strength comes from within. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the cornerstone of emotional independence. You don't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. Your sense of value is not tied to how others treat you. When you stand firm in your own emotional state, you radiate confidence and stability, and that alone commands respect. You must understand this deeply. Emotional independence means that you are not a slave to the whims of others. When you let your mood depend on how people behave, you allow yourself to be controlled. Do not allow yourself to be tossed about by the winds of external circumstances. Take control of your emotions. Take control of your life. You are not afraid to stand alone, because you know that your happiness does not depend on anyone else. Women, and the world in general, respect a man who is emotionally self-sufficient, a man who stands steady in the storm. When a man can support others, particularly a woman, without losing himself in the process, he becomes a force to be reckoned with. The power of emotional independence is magnetic. You can feel it. Others can feel it. It's that unshakable strength of character that women, especially, find irresistible. Here's what this means in practice. You do not need to dump your emotions on everyone around you. You don't have to share every feeling, every doubt, or every whim that crosses your mind. A man who is emotionally independent doesn't let every little shift in his mood control his actions. You think first, you act second. Your emotional state doesn't dictate your behavior. You stay composed, even when faced with pressure, drama, or chaos. And in this stillness, this silence, lies your power. The most powerful men you know, the ones others respect, are not the ones who overshare. They don't need to explain their every thought, their every feeling. Instead, they reserve their words, they preserve their energy, and they let their actions speak for them. You've seen this before. The men who hold their ground, who remain calm, who make decisions without flinching, they are the ones people are drawn to. This kind of emotional mastery isn't easy, but it's essential. It requires discipline. It requires you to take full ownership of your emotional world. And in this ownership, you create space. You create space to grow. You create space to build. You become untouchable by the noise of others' emotions, their drama, and their insecurities. When you lead with this kind of inner peace, with purpose and clarity, you elevate yourself above the noise of everyday life. And women, they will respect you because of it. They will trust you because you have proven that you are a man who can handle his own emotions, and hers too, without losing your center. In the paths of wisdom and stoicism, win. Men like this command of respect, not because they ask for it, but because they embody it. This is about mastery. Mastery of yourself, mastery of your emotions, mastery of your life. You don't let anyone dictate your emotional state. You stand firm in your own principles. You are a man who has a mission, a purpose, and he will not be derailed by fleeting emotions or external circumstances. You guard your peace because that peace is what fuels your greatness. And once you've cultivated emotional independence, you will rise above the chaos of modern life. You will stop reacting to drama, and you will start moving with purpose and direction. This is not about being cold. It's about being resolute. It's about being unshakable. And the result, you don't just earn respect, you command it. Do not let the storm outside disrupt your peace within. Master your emotions, build your inner strength, and you will see the world and the people around you begin to align with your power. You will stop being swayed by outside influences. You will stop needing validation. And that, my friend, is how you become a man who can't be ignored. That's how you walk the paths of wisdom laid out by Stoics like Epictetus. And that's how you win in life. Thanks so much for tuning in, my friends. I hope this video helped you take away some practical insights on how setting boundaries can not only help you gain respect, but transform the way people see you. Remember, respect is earned, and it starts with you, your confidence, your consistency, and your choices. Here's my sincere advice: don't ever sacrifice your boundaries just to please others. True respect comes from the strength of maintaining them. Be unapologetic about it, and watch the shift in how you're treated. Now, share this video with a friend, and drop a comment below with the phrase, "I choose respect over validation." When you support this movement, you're not just helping this channel grow, you're helping another man hear what he might not have been told before. I appreciate you all. Stay strong and keep building respect, not just validation. See you in the next video. All men should watch this video. Ask her these 6 questions when she's drunk. You'll find the truth. Old Stoic Wisdom. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Osho. Let me share something most men don't know when a woman's had a few drinks. She won't walk away. She might talk louder, laugh more freely, or shed a tear over something trivial. But here's the truth. Her filter is gone. The barriers that usually keep her thoughts in check are relaxed. And what comes out in those moments is what she's been hiding beneath the surface all along. Today, I'm about to reveal a secret. There's a code women don't want you to break, but I'm handing it to you anyway. I'm going to share with you the 6 questions that will tell you what she truly thinks about you, what she secretly craves, and what she'll never admit when she's sober, sharp, and guarded. When that second glass of wine hits, when her voice softens and her makeup starts to fade a bit, when the room feels a little warmer and the words come more easily, that's when you need to ask. If you ask the right questions, she'll unknowingly reveal more than she ever intended. This is for the men who want clarity, not confusion, for those who prefer the truth over chasing mixed signals. So if you're tired of uncertainty and want to unlock what's hidden beneath the surface, hit subscribe. This channel is for men who value truth, not games. This quote ties into the idea that when someone lets their guard down, it's a moment to appreciate their true self, unguarded and free from the constraints of social expectations. Question 1. Who was your first real love? Who was your first real love? It may sound like an innocent question, but let's dig deeper. When you ask a woman this, especially when she's relaxed and a bit tipsy, you're not just asking for a name from her past. You're unlocking an emotional truth, revealing the very core of how she loves, how she feels, and what that love has meant to her. It's not just a simple memory. It's a story about what shaped her, about what she still craves, and about how her first love continues to influence her relationships today. This question cuts straight through the surface, reaching into the parts of her heart that define how she connects with you and every other man she's ever loved. Take James. For instance, James, 49, had just gone through a tough breakup after being in a committed relationship for nearly 18 years. One quiet evening, after a long conversation over wine, he finally gathered the courage to ask his girlfriend, "Who was your first real love?" She didn't talk about anyone from her youth, as James had expected. Instead, she spoke about a brief encounter when she was 21. A few weeks of passionate connection, no relationship, just a summer affair. She described the feeling of being seen for the first time, the intensity of those fleeting moments. And then came the line that stuck with James. "I've never felt that way again. Not in any relationship after that." That simple sentence revealed so much more than a long-lost summer. It was a glimpse into her emotional foundation. What she had experienced in those few weeks was the standard by which she unknowingly measured every man she had been with since, including James. That wasn't just a lost love. It was the first imprint on her heart, shaping her desires, her hopes, and even her fears. She might not even know it, but she was chasing that initial emotional connection, looking for the excitement and warmth she felt back then, without realizing it. And here's the truth. Most men don't know. A woman's first love isn't just a past fling. It's the emotional blueprint she carries with her. It's what she's unknowingly trying to recreate, what she compares every new partner to, sometimes without even being conscious of it. It's something that imprints on her heart, deep and lasting. Her first love is the feeling that sticks with her, whether she's aware of it or not. It's why some women are constantly drawn to relationships that echo that original experience, even if those relationships aren't healthy or fulfilling. It's why they're sometimes unconsciously looking for the rush or the safety they had back then. And when you understand that, you'll realize that her answer to who was your first real love is revealing more than just a story. It's a key to her heart. Now, meet Rachel, 34. Rachel once dated a guy named Aaron, who was charming, yet emotionally distant. He had a way of making her feel both captivated and frustrated, leaving her always wondering where she stood with him. The relationship was never stable, but she found herself obsessing over it for years, unable to let go. Years later, she found herself dating men who shared the same emotional unavailability, men who were just as elusive as Aaron had been. One evening, as she sat with her boyfriend, she confessed, "I think I've always been in love with him." Her words hung in the air, and if you're the guy listening, don't panic. This is where stoicism comes in. A boy might feel threatened, defensive, or even hurt, but a man listens, because this isn't a rejection, it's a clue, a piece of the puzzle that will help you understand her better. She's not telling you that she's still in love with Aaron. What she's revealing is how that relationship, even though it ended, shaped her emotionally. She's been drawn to men who are just like him, emotionally distant but undeniably magnetic. The truth is, Rachel wasn't seeking Aaron specifically. She was looking for something that was imprinted on her heart, a connection she experienced with him that she hasn't found since. And that's the real insight you need. Women don't forget their first love. It's a deep imprint that lingers long after the man is gone. It's not about whether that first love was perfect or even if it lasted. What matters is how it made them feel, and how that feeling becomes the emotional bar they measure every relationship by. What's even more interesting is how women often unconsciously try to recreate that dynamic, or in some cases, avoid it. They might be running from it, trying to break the pattern, but they're still unknowingly looking for it in new partners. Every relationship after their first love becomes a test, whether they realize it or not, of whether the connection they had back then can be recreated. And this is where you, as the man, need to listen with wisdom. Don't let insecurity or fear cloud your understanding. Be present and listen, not just to what she's saying, but to what she's feeling. Her first love is the key to unlocking her heart, to understanding the emotional needs and desires that have shaped the woman you're with. So, let me be blunt. If you want to understand the woman sitting across from you, if you want to truly connect with her on a deeper level, ask her about her first real love. Don't shy away from the question. No matter how uncomfortable it may seem, be bold, be strong, be the man who doesn't just listen to the surface details, but hears the deeper meaning behind the words. Understand that her answer holds the key to her emotional world, revealing her emotional imprint, the undercurrent that guides all her relationships. Her first love is a reflection of who she is, what she needs, and what she's still searching for. Don't just ask her. Listen carefully. You'll learn more than you ever imagined. Comment to remember. I understand the power of her first love and listen with wisdom. Question 2. What's the biggest lie you've ever told me? There is a question every man must ask at some point if he truly wants to understand the woman in his life. And it is this. What's the biggest lie you've ever told me? Now, don't ask this lightly. This is not some casual inquiry. This question carries weight. It digs deep into her soul. It confronts the raw, painful truths, the kind of truths people spend a lifetime hiding. Guilt is a powerful, sticky emotion that can sometimes explode when revealed, but if asked in the right moment, with vulnerability and trust in the air, you'll unlock a level of honesty that can change everything. The answer might completely shift the way you see her, and even more, the way you see yourself. It's time to get real. This question cuts past the surface. It digs into her integrity, her fears, her need to manipulate or protect the truth. Don't think of this as an accusation. Think of it as an invitation to a confession booth. There's no judgment here, just a moment of clarity where the truth can be set free. Remember, everyone lies. Big lies, little lies, not always out of malice, but often out of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of losing someone important. When you ask this question, you're not attacking her, you're creating a space for transparency. I'll give you an example. Michael, 52 years old, had been in a relationship with Tara, 49 for 2 years. She was beautiful, smart, emotionally sharp, but always guarded. Despite all the dinners, the trips, the laughter, she kept a part of herself hidden. One evening, just the two of them on the patio, with a couple of glasses of wine and the stars overhead, Michael leaned in and asked the question, "What's the biggest lie you've ever told me?" Tara froze, looking at him and then away. Then she finally said, "When I told you I was over my ex, I wasn't, not completely." Michael could have exploded with anger, but instead, he responded with calm strength. He asked, "Are you over him now?" She nodded. "Yes, but I needed time. I didn't know how to admit that without losing you." That moment changed everything. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about honesty, even when it hurts. This is the kind of conversation that builds a real connection. It's not the lie that matters. It's the truth that follows. You must understand that this question reveals more than just the lie. It exposes what she hides when she's scared. It shows what she thinks you can't handle, and maybe, even now, what she's still hiding. Sometimes, the answers will surprise you. She might say, "I lied when I said I liked your friends," or "I never told you I was texting my ex when we first started dating," or even, "I said I was okay when I wasn't. I said it didn't hurt me when you forgot my birthday, but it did. These aren't lies born from malice. They're emotional shields designed to protect the heart. Now, how do you respond? You respond with calm. You respond with strength. You respond with presence. You don't interrupt. You don't react. You receive. When she finishes, don't try to fix it. Don't offer solutions. Just say, "Thank you for telling me." Let the truth sit between you without judgment, without analysis. The power of the question lies not in what is revealed, but in how you handle the answer. Don't underestimate the strength of listening. Don't underestimate the power of creating a space where the truth can thrive. This is how trust is built. The old Stoics understood this. The truth will set you free, they said. This question, when asked with integrity and received with strength, has the power to liberate both of you. You're not just uncovering the truth, you're creating a relationship built on the foundation of honesty and understanding. Now, you must embrace this. Ask the question. Create the space for truth. Receive it. And in that space, you'll find a deeper connection than you ever thought possible. This is how you master relationships. Question 3. If you could change one thing about our relationship, what would it be? If you want the truth, if you want to know what she really thinks but doesn't have the courage to say, ask her this one simple yet powerful question. If you could change one thing about our relationship, what would it be? This isn't just a casual question. It's not a light-hearted icebreaker. It's a piercing, bold inquiry that goes straight to the heart of the matter. It forces her to confront the truth, to articulate what's been lingering in her mind, perhaps even for a long time. And here's the thing most men overlook. Women don't usually voice dissatisfaction openly. They don't shout. They don't argue. Instead, they pull away. They withdraw their affection, their energy, and they retreat into silence. So, when you ask her this question, you're giving her permission to speak her mind, to share what she's been holding back. And that is the real gift. Let's look at a real example. Jonathan, a 52-year-old man, has been with Dana, who's 48 for 5 years. On the surface, their relationship looks solid. No major conflicts, good communication, and an overall connection that seems to be intact. But there's something off. Dana, once warm and affectionate, now seems distant, almost transactional in her interactions. The spark that once ignited their bond seems to have faded. So, one evening, after a couple of glasses of wine, Jonathan, in a moment of courage, asked her, "If you could change one thing about us, what would it be?" There was a pause. Dana looked down at her glass, then back at him, and said, "I miss feeling wanted, not needed, not useful, but wanted." Her words hit hard. She went on to explain that over time, their relationship had become comfortable, predictable, but it had also become routine. There was no chaos, no drama, but there was also no excitement, the mystery, the tension, the edge that once made their bond electrifying. It was gone. Jonathan could have responded with defensiveness. He could have felt guilty, ashamed, or even angry, but he didn't. Instead, he simply said, "Thank you for telling me." That moment wasn't a fight. It wasn't an argument. It wasn't a bitter exchange of hurt feelings. No, it was a breakthrough. It was the start of a conversation that could rekindle what had been lost. Here's the thing, asking this question doesn't just open the door to deeper honesty. It shows leadership. It's a subtle but powerful act of courage. It says, "I'm not afraid of discomfort. I'm not afraid to hear the truth, even if it stings. I'm committed to growth, to evolution, to making us better, together." Most men are scared to ask questions like this because they fear the answers. But the truth is, growth doesn't come without discomfort. It doesn't come without confronting what's broken. If you want to lead, if you want to create a relationship that isn't just stable but thriving, you must embrace the discomfort. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions, and don't be afraid to hear tough answers. This is why this question is so powerful. It creates a safe space for both of you to get real with each other. It allows her to express what she's been too afraid to say. without feeling criticized or judged. But it also shows you're willing to listen and understand, rather than react out of fear or insecurity. When you ask this question, you're telling her, I'm here to grow with you. I'm not content with complacency, and neither should you be. And believe me, this simple act of bravery can ignite a spark in your relationship that you didn't even know was possible. What many men don't realize is that relationships, like anything else, require effort. They require work. They require us to be willing to dig deep, to ask tough questions, and to have the courage to face the truths we may not want to hear. But the rewards are worth it. Ask this question, and you may find that the relationship you thought was plateauing can soar to new heights. You'll learn more about her, more about yourself, and ultimately, you'll create a stronger, more resilient connection, but only if you're brave enough to ask. So don't shy away from discomfort. Be the leader who asks the tough questions. Be the man who's committed to growth. And most importantly, don't settle for a relationship that's anything less than extraordinary. If you truly want the truth, ask her these 6 words. If you could change one thing about us, what would it be? It's the kind of question that can change everything. Question 4. When was the last time you felt truly desired? It's a deceptively simple question, but it's loaded with weight, with depth, and the silence that follows. That silence speaks volumes. It's not a question about love or affection or even need. It's about desire. It bypasses logic. It goes straight for the core. And here's the thing, most men miss the power of this question lies in its ability to stir something primal, something visceral. When you ask a woman when she last felt truly desired, you're not asking about flowers, gifts, or the day you told her you loved her. You're tapping into a deeper hunger, something raw, something yearning. Now, imagine this. You're with her, maybe a glass of wine between you two. The room is dim, and the air is soft. This is the perfect moment. When the guard is down and the conversation flows like the wine in your glasses. This is when you ask the question. And when you do, expect the unexpected. Don't be surprised if she's taken aback, caught off guard by the genuine depth of your inquiry. But that's exactly the point. Most women won't see it coming, especially not from a man who isn't just looking for something in return. This question has the power to open a door that's been closed for too long. Let me tell you a story. Victor, a 52-year-old man, had been married to Angela, his wife, for over 20 years, but somewhere along the way, the spark had fizzled. The last 5 years of their marriage had seen intimacy become a routine, a checklist, a formality. One night, after a long overdue dinner with wine, with no distractions, Victor did something different. He didn't just ask Angela how her day was, or tell her he loved her. Instead, he asked her the question, when was the last time you felt truly desired? She paused. She looked down, took a slow breath, and then, after what felt like an eternity, she answered, before the kids, not last week, not last year, but before a chapter of life that had changed everything. Before the distractions of life, before the responsibilities and the grind took over, before she had to take on the roles of mother, wife, and caretaker, before she lost sight of herself as a woman, a desirable woman. That moment cracked something open in Victor, not because he had been doing something wrong, but because he finally had the courage to ask the question that most men never dare to. That question, it wasn't just about intimacy or attraction. It was about something more profound. It was about attention, undivided and intentional attention. It was about making her feel seen, not just looked at, but seen in a way that makes her feel like the woman she once was. Too often, men fall into the trap of thinking desire is solely about physical attraction. But here's the truth, it's not. Desire isn't just about looks. It's about energy. It's about connection. It's about being present in a way that says, I see you, I desire you. And if you don't give her that kind of attention, if she doesn't feel like she's still the object of your desire, well, then you've opened the door for that hunger to grow. That void will fester. Someone, or something, will eventually try to fill it. Think about it. How many times have you gotten lost in the daily grind, in the responsibilities of life, and forgotten to truly see her, to ask, "Are you still desirable to me?" To give her that attention that makes her feel wanted, not just needed now, before you brush this off as sentimental nonsense. Let's be clear, this isn't just about romance. It's not about wooing her with flowers or gestures. This is about attention. This is about making her feel like the woman she is, deserving of admiration and respect, not just in the bedroom, but in life. It's about being intentional with your gaze, with your words, with your actions. Don't mistake this for weakness. It's strength. It's the strength to ask the hard questions, to open the doors to deeper conversations. It's about acknowledging that relationships need more than just routine and obligation. They need desire, the kind of desire that fuels passion and intimacy. If she doesn't feel desired by you, if she feels like she's fading into the background of your life, that is when doubt creeps in. And that doubt, it's a dangerous thing. It leaves a space for someone else to come along, someone who might be willing to give her the attention and admiration that you're not. You must understand this desire is a currency. It's not something that can be taken for granted, not something you can let slip through the cracks because life is busy. If you don't feed it, it dies. And when it dies, so does a part of your connection. Now, I'll say this again, desire isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's mental. It's about feeling like the most important person in the room, not just by virtue of your title as her husband, but because you see her in a way no one else does. You've got to make her feel like she is still the one. So here's the bottom line. Don't wait. Don't let time slip by while the spark fades into routine. Ask the question, look her in the eyes, and ask, when was the last time she felt truly desired? Not just loved or needed, but desired. That question will crack open something in her and in you. And if you ask it at the right moment, when the room is soft and the air is thick with possibility, you might just find the truth you've been searching for. If you found this video valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom on relationships and personal growth. Comment below to remember, I am the man who sees her as she truly is. By acknowledging her worth, we strengthen the bond and keep desire alive. Take action, and let this be your reminder to never let routine replace genuine connection. Question 5. Is there something you fantasize about but haven't told me? Men, listen up. There's a question that cuts straight to the heart. A question most men never ask. A question that opens the door to the truth, to a world you may not even know exists. Is there something you fantasize about but haven't told me? This question doesn't just break the surface. It dives deep. It shatters the comfort zone. It makes her face her own truth, a truth she's often too afraid to share. Why? Because most men avoid this kind of vulnerability. They don't want to know. They don't dare to go there. But if you ask, you unlock a hidden realm, and what you find inside could change everything. This isn't just a question. It's an invitation into the most sacred part of her world, a place where desires and secrets lie dormant, waiting for someone strong enough to bring them to light. Ask it, and you reveal her raw, unfiltered self. It's not about wild fantasies or outlandish desires. It's about something much deeper, something more fundamental. It's about longing to be seen, not for what she was, but for who she is now. It's about wanting to be wanted, cherished, and pursued once more, not because of the roles she plays, mother, wife, partner, but because of the woman she is underneath all of that. You see, men, this is the truth that women over 45 carry. They long for the feeling of being chosen again. They want to be reminded of the heat of desire, not for their past self, but for their present. And when you ask that question, you make a powerful statement. You say, I can handle your truth. I won't use it against you. I want to know all of you, the parts you've hidden. That kind of strength is rare. Few men can bear to hear the truth without flinching, without judgment, without fear. But when you do, you enter a sacred bond, the truth becomes a bridge between you, and that bridge makes you unstoppable. And remember, as the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Be the man who dares to ask the hard questions. Be the man who invites truth into his life, no matter how uncomfortable it might seem. This is how you build real strength, by facing what others won't. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to know. Step into the realm of truth and see how far it takes you. In today's world, we are bombarded with distractions. We chase after things that are shallow, fleeting, and empty. But when you ask this question, when you pierce through the noise, you discover something powerful. You unlock a connection that goes beyond the superficial. You learn the truth about her, and in doing so, you learn the truth about yourself. You become a man who is strong enough to face the unknown, a man who has the courage to seek real connection. And that, my friend, is a victory that will make you a better man. A man who understands the real power of asking the right questions. A man who seeks the truth, not just in the world around him, but in the heart of the woman beside him. And that is a force to be reckoned with. The truth is waiting. Don't hesitate. Ask the question, and you will not regret it. Question 6. What do you think about us in 5 years? What do you think about us in 5 years? This isn't a question for fairy tale answers or romantic cliches. No, this is about clarity, vision, and whether her heart is still aligned with yours. When you ask a woman, especially one over 40, what do you think about us in 5 years? You aren't just talking about time. You're talking about whether your relationship is built on intimacy, stability, and growth. You're asking if she still sees you in her future, and more importantly, if she's emotionally committed to it. It's the kind of question that makes her stop in her tracks. It forces her to evaluate not only you, but also herself, her desires, her dreams, and the doubts that might be lingering beneath the surface. This is real talk, no sugarcoating. It's raw and honest, and it's necessary. Take Martin, for example. He's 55, divorced for a few years, and dating Teresa, 52. Things between them were going smoothly on the surface, but Martin couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't truly moving forward. They weren't building something real, something long-lasting. They were just drifting, stuck in a rut. So, one evening, with no wine, no special date night set up, just him, her, and the truth, he asked her plainly, "Where do you see us in 5 years?" She blinked, took a moment, and then gave him the answer he'd been dreading. "I'm not sure. I love what we have now, but I don't know if it's going anywhere." That sentence hit Martin harder than 6 months of cozy dinners and weekend trips. It wasn't that she didn't care. No, it meant she wasn't planning. She wasn't thinking about the future. She was coasting, just getting by, not building with him. And for Martin, who had spent years in a marriage that didn't work out, that response changed everything. This is why this question is so crucial. It's not about forcing her into some preconceived box of expectations. It's about understanding if you're on the same page, if you're even in the same damn book. Are you building something together, or are you just passing the time? Here's what most men miss. A woman who truly sees a future with you is already living in that future emotionally. She doesn't need a 5-year plan on paper to know she's with you. She plans on we, not me. Her thoughts are already ours, not mine. When she talks about the future, she doesn't hesitate. When you mention holidays or moving to a new place, she's already mentally there with you. She's emotionally invested in the idea of you two together long term, and her actions and words reflect that. You might think that asking about the future is risky, that it's too much too soon, but don't shy away from this kind of conversation. If you don't ask these tough questions, you'll end up floating aimlessly, unsure of where you both stand. Don't settle for a relationship where you're not both fully committed to the idea of building a future together. Be clear with yourself and with her. This isn't just about having a good time now. That's easy. The real challenge is whether she's ready to grow, to take on life's struggles and successes with you. So, when you ask her, What do you think about us in 5 years? Look beyond her answer. Watch her body language, listen to the tone in her voice, and pay attention to the space between the words. That is where the truth lies. Be ready for it. Don't back away. If you don't hear the kind of answer that aligns with your vision, then it's time to face the reality of where you are and where you want to go. This is old Stoic wisdom, my friend. It's about seeing the world for what it is and not what we hope it to be. Don't ignore the signs. Don't live in the fantasy. Ask the questions that matter and get the clarity you need. If she's with you for the long haul, her answers will reflect that. If she's not, well, at least you'll know. You must know, because the truth, my friend, will always set you free. So, the next time you're sitting across from her, in the quiet moments, when you're both comfortable, ask her, what do you think about us in 5 years? Listen closely and prepare yourself for the answer, no matter what it may be. That's the only way you'll truly know where you stand. And if the road ahead leads you both in the same direction, you must understand this true connection with a woman doesn't come from surface-level conversations. It comes from digging deeper, from facing the raw truth head-on. To unlock that level of intimacy, there are 6 questions every man should ask. Ask them when she's vulnerable, when she's had a drink, when the walls come down. Why? Because that's when you'll find the truth, not the polished version she presents, but the unvarnished reality. Real men know this. The unexamined life is not worth living. As Socrates once said, only by confronting the hard truths, by listening deeply, do you forge a bond that goes beyond fleeting attraction and shallow flirtation. You need to be strong enough to ask the questions, to listen to the answers without flinching. And if you do this, you'll gain something most men will never experience: genuine emotional intimacy. But let's be clear, this isn't about manipulation. It's about creating a space where trust can thrive. It's about being emotionally mature enough to handle whatever comes your way, without judgment, without ego. You must lead with calm, with patience, with curiosity. You don't just hear the words, you absorb them, you act on them. When you ask these questions, you're showing her that you're not afraid to look deeper, that you're ready to lead her, and that you're willing to deal with the uncomfortable truths that arise. The key here is not just to ask, but to listen. The truth isn't always easy to bear, but it's the foundation of a real, lasting relationship. The kind of relationship that isn't built on surface-level impressions, but on shared understanding. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By asking the right questions, you unlock the truth that will make your relationship stronger, more authentic. This is for men who are ready to rise above mediocrity, who are willing to do the work, who want clarity and honesty in their relationships. These questions won't just help you understand her better, they'll help you understand yourself better. 2. The act of truly listening to the answers shows strength that makes you a better man, a better partner. So, ask the hard questions, embrace the discomfort, face the truth, and when you hear it, act on it. Don't back away, stand firm. That's how you build something real, something lasting. This is how you build trust, how you create the kind of relationship that lasts for the long haul. So, take action. Be the man who listens, who leads with strength, who knows the value of truth. Your growth as a man and your relationship will depend on it. If this resonates with you, drop a comment below. Let's keep this conversation alive. And make sure you subscribe for more insights on how to become the man who leads with emotional intelligence, strength, and purpose.